So the Democrats who are feeling good about their midterm chances cannot deny that President Trump got some strong jobs numbers today. The U.S. economy adding 130,000 jobs in January. That doubled expectations, and unemployment coming in at 4.3%. That also beat expectations. And even some folks in the media admitted it was good news.
This is being seen as good news even on Wall Street.
This is a hot jobs report. I mean, there's really nothing in this not to like.
Polls do suggest that Americans have their questions about deportations and even the work of DOJ, but certainly the jobs report higher than expected. That is undeniable.
Nobody's going to rain on my parade, and these numbers are what they are. All these naysayers steeped in politics continue to be negative. That's okay, because 50K says you've all been wrong.
President Trump telling Larry Kudlow he's confident of Republican success in the midterms, but of course, it's all about how you sell it.
If we can get the word out, we should win. The problem is that historically, 2 times the president's won in 50 years. 2 times. I don't know what that is. We have the hottest country in the world. I guess I have to sell that because we should win in a landslide, and we'll do everything we can to do it.
So it's not just good jobs numbers. Crime's also down, but will President Trump get credit for that? Axios posted and then deleted this tweet. Crime plunges in major cities despite Trump's crackdown rhetoric. Okay, let's do maybe jobs first. Jesse, better 130,000 up is better than down.
Yeah, that was a strong number. And then I'm looking at the 33,000 construction jobs. That's a construction boom. And the construction jobs always precede a manufacturing boom because you have to build the factories and build the plants, and then you can get things going again. Rent, rates, inflation, gas, all down. He has now slashed the federal workforce to levels not seen since 1966, slashed crime to levels not seen since 1900. And now I think all-time illegal alien crossings at a record low. So incomes are up and the stock market's at an all-time high. If he was a Democrat, the media would cover this guy as like this economic miracle. But the country is a little traumatized from Bidenomics, so he has to be sensitive about the fact that the golden age is not going to happen overnight. But if he just keeps hammering this thing and hammering this thing, we will get to the promised land soon enough.
All right, Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just listening to Jesse, and I have to say, it's kind of amazing, the numbers that you talk about with crime and 50,000 stock market. It's amazing. The numbers don't lie, but people do. Like an inch is always an inch till you ask a guy how tall he is. Or, you know, a pound is a pound until you ask a lady her weight, which you shouldn't.
Never do that.
So the Axios thing is a great example. You know, they admit that the crime is dropping, but then they add that word despite. So they note the numbers, they change the story with the hope that that becomes the narrative for the rest of the discredited media. But this is the great thing about social media. We always say, social media is bad, but that didn't last. Now, in the old days, before X was sold, that thing would have been, it would have been the bat signal, the conformity trigger. Like, okay, this is the story you're going to run with. It'll help you explain the number. The Times would do it, the Washington Post, everybody. Republicans, however, they can report real numbers when the Democrats were in power. So they didn't have to do this. You looked at the millions that were streaming in undocumented across the border. You saw the murder rates. You saw the amount of overdoses. You didn't have to fudge it at all. So the Dems, what did they do then? They just avoided those numbers. The media avoided those numbers. They wanted plausible deniability. It's like, hey, as long as we're in the dark, you know, we can't say we knew and did these policies anyway. Also, if they actually admitted to these numbers, they'd have to abandon their policies or they'd be just psychotic and throw themselves off a bridge. But it's still a challenge for Trump. That's the thing. He said, I guess I got to sell it. Yeah, that's the point. You got to sell it because we just explained to you that they're not going to buy it. The media is going to do everything they can. Those are amazing numbers.
Amazing.
And they're going to make them look bad. So you have to persuade and to reason at the same time, but not to the media, to the people. And we're probably the only network and the only show that is saying directly what's going on. And if you look at, Other places, they'll just be like, oh, I had no idea.
Well, also, I think, Kennedy, they have to continue to step on the gas, so to speak. So the deregulations that have been helpful so far, like keep going. Wait till you see my one more thing today. I'm going to add one for you, Greg.
I hope we don't have
I'm very
time.
happy about it. Tax season is coming, and they're expecting everybody to have some sort of a cut, or at least to have the larger return than they've had in many years.
Yes, and refunds, things like that definitely help people. And that's also what helps independent voters put all of the ICE raids and the bad publicity that this administration has had from ICE behind them. Because if the midterms were held today, this administration is facing a cultural headwind. They do have to be careful in not overselling it, because if you're telling people the economy is wonderful and they've lost their job or they can't afford to buy a house for the first time, the economy is not great for them. What they can do is move government out of the way as much as possible to allow the free market to naturally flourish. Because, you know, rates for home buyers who bought 10 years ago, they're at 3%. They are still not selling. I mean, that's one of the things that leads to a housing crunch for home buyers in this country. But if people feel it in their taxes, if people see it at the gas pump, and they also feel it in prices, then their economy has improved. Then those messages tend to resonate more. So if you've got crime that's coming down and an economy that's improving, I would be very interested to see what Democrat messaging is, because it's really, really tough to run against that.
Kaylee, I noticed, I mean, obviously, feel free to talk about anything you wanted, but I noticed that in Orlando and Tampa, places that you know pretty well, they had a 50% decline in homicides. And they weren't the only city, but that was notable to me. 50% is quite a bit.
Yes, because those are jurisdictions that partner with the Trump administration rather than trying to stand in opposition. Governor Ron DeSantis has been a great partner to President Trump. You know, one of the things that's not covered often, which I've got to say I'm thrilled about as a mom, and I can't believe it's not covered, is that this is the lowest rate of school shootings in 4 years. You can see the headline on Education Weekly, fewest incidents and deaths in 4 years. I asked Kash Patel about that, and he's literally detailed for me stories where in New York City, there was a report someone put out on social media that they were going to shoot up a school. Within 2 hours, the FBI was there, found a gun in the young man's backpack, and averted what could have been a crisis at a New York City school. Those stories don't get enough attention. They should, because I think I speak for every mother in America when I say thank you for making a difference there. But one thing I would note today, and we talked about this earlier in the week, Dana, when you're putting out 20 messages from the White House, a lot gets lost. But today's a great example. There was a lot going on at the White House, but you didn't see most of it. Prime Minister Netanyahu, that meeting was behind closed doors. So what got attention? The president's coal message. So I think it's instructive going forward. Put the president out there strategically on something that matters, the economy, school shootings, whatever the message is, and drive it home to November.
But he's also got to get the Republican voters to pretend this is a presidential election. Because it is. It is. He's going to lose.
Midterm convention.
Yes.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.